private sector to increase the Omanization percentage. The Sultanate's government, represented by Small and Medium Enterprises Development Authority, continues its efforts to support SMEs during coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. And Syria's President Bashar al-Assad wins fourth presidential term with 95.1% votes. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq has sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Guillermo Lasso of the Republic of Ecuador on his inauguration as the new president of the country. Implementing the royal directives of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander in Accelerating Employment Initiatives, Sultan's Armed Forces, in coordination with the Ministry of Labor, continued receiving young cadres to distribute them in Sultan's Armed Forces and other administrations in the Ministry of Defense, as the Royal Navy of Oman announced that from Tuesday, the 1st of June 2021, it will start receiving job seekers' applications who meet terms for joining and recruitment. To ensure that licensed companies implement government policies regarding the qualification and training of Omani cadres, the Authority for Public Services Regulation continues to implement the initiatives that was announced last March to Omanize jobs. More details in the following report by Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i.
To ensure that licensed companies implement government policies regarding the qualification and training of Omani cadres, the General Services Regulatory Authority has continued to implement the initiative that was announced last March to Omanize jobs in subcontractors companies working with licensed companies in the electricity sector, targeting 800 jobs during the current year. The number of applications to fill the offered jobs has exceeded 7,800. as the exams have begun to filter the candidates and will end at the end of this month, and the companies responsible for employment also begin to conduct personal interviews for the candidates who pass the exams during the first week of next month, after which the candidates will be hired directly under training according to the plan for these. This initiative aims to qualify trained Omani competencies who hold bachelor degrees, higher diplomas and general diplomas, and operate them in the subcontractor companies working with licensed electricity companies in various ports of the Sultanate to raise the percentage of Omanization by the end of the program next year to 90% in these companies with permanent contracts. In this regard, Mazoon Electricity Company has completed the procedures for employing 38 engineers as part of its plan to Omanize more than 300 jobs and raise the Omanization rate to 98% during the coming period. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
The Ministry of Labor announced reduction of expatriates' workforce recruitment permit fees regarding high and middle-level positions and types of professions and occupations. In conjunction with the implementation of the economic stimulus plan for establishments with fees reduction of expat workforce recruitment permits, as specified in the Ministerial Decision 12/2021, related to amending the fees for issuing and renewing license to bring in expat workers and practice its work as follows. 25% reduction in fees for establishments that employ Omani workforce. 50% reduction in fees for establishments that achieve Omanization rates. The ministry stated that the Omanization percentage will be calculated according to the distribution of workers on the various economic activities of the establishment. This decision came within the framework of enhancing job opportunities for citizens in the private sector at top and middle positions, in addition to the technical and specialized professions. Still to come on News Bulletin. The Ministry of Health continues vaccination campaign against coronavirus for general diploma students. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Syria's President Bashar al-Assad has been re-elected with 95.1% of the votes cast, and the parliamentary speaker announced yesterday, following an election criticized by the opposition and Western nations. The two other presidential candidates, former State Minister Abdullah Salloum Abdullah and Mahmoud Mehri, a member of the so-called tolerated opposition, received 1.5% and 3.3% of the vote respectively, according to the official results of Wednesday's election. 14.2 million people went to the polls, recording a turnout rate of 76.64%. Assad has dismissed Western accusations that Wednesday's vote were neither free nor fair. The United States, Britain, France, Germany, and Italy have condemned the electoral process as illegitimate. The novel coronavirus has killed more than 3.51 million people since December 2019. At least 168.9 million cases of coronavirus have been registered. The World Health Organization estimates that the pandemic's overall toll could be 2 to 3 times higher than the official records due to the excess mortality that is directly and indirectly linked to COVID-19. Yesterday, 12,736 new deaths and 586,617 new cases were recorded worldwide. The United States is the worst affected country with 593,288 deaths. And after the US, the hardest hit countries are Brazil with 456,674 deaths, Mexico 222,656, and the United Kingdom with 127,758 deaths. Europe overall has more than 1.13 million deaths. Latin America and the Caribbean at least 1.02 million. Asia 467,107. The Middle East 141,788, and Africa 129,480 deaths. The Indian authorities today announced a tentative easing of the lockdown at the capital of New Delhi as the coronavirus infections fall in major cities after weeks of restriction. Rural areas of the country are now seeing the brunt of a surge in cases that has overwhelmed the healthcare system and killed at least 160,000 people since the start of March. Arvind Kejriwal, Delhi's chief minister, said that from Monday, construction works and factories can resume. He said that they are starting to process the reopening very slowly. They will release it after weeks based on experts and people's opinions. Daily infections reported across India have more than halved from more than 400,000 earlier this month. and deaths percent per day has fallen but by much less, with 3,660 reported today in the previous 24 hours. The Sultanate government, represented by Small and Medium Enterprises Development Authority, continues its efforts to support small and medium-sized enterprises during coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. This support comes through a number of procedures, initiatives, and incentives approved by the government in order to reduce the impacts of the pandemic on SMEs. Among these initiatives, the postponement of installments, interests, and profits, tax exemption, permit fees exemption for small and medium-sized enterprises, and postponement of monthly subscription fees at social insurance system and other initiatives. The authority also pays monthly stipend of 202 riyals and 500 beza from Job Security Fund for 6 months to self-employment persons who are insured at Social Insurance Authority and affected by the pandemic. In 39 centers, general diploma students in the Governorate of Dhahira have taken the first dose of the vaccination against coronavirus COVID-19. The campaign includes also teaching at administrative staff and supervisors at general diploma examination centers. More than 3,000 male and female general diploma students in the Governorate are supposed to be vaccinated before the final examination of the current scholastic year. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. Royal Navy of Oman is to start receiving job seekers' applications within the bundle of occupation initiatives from the 1st of June 2021. The Authority for Public Services Regulation continues to implement the Omanization of job initiatives at private sector to increase the Omanization percentage. The Sultanate's government, represented by Small and Medium Enterprises Development Authority, continues its efforts to support SMEs during coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. And Syria's President Bashar al-Assad wins fourth presidential term with 95.1% votes. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, thank you for watching, stay safe, and good night.
تنفيذا للتوجيهات السامية لمولانا حضرة صاحب الجلالة السلطان هيثم بن طارق المعظم حفظه الله ورعاه، بسرعة تنفيذ المبادرات التشغيلية، تعلن وزارة العمل بالتنسيق مع البحرية السلطانية العمانية عن فتح باب التجنيد كضباط مرشحين وجنود مستجدين، وسيتم استقبال الطلبات ابتداء من يوم الثلاثاء الموافق الأول من يونيو 2021 وحتى يوم السبت الموافق 5 من يونيو 2021. الشروط العامة: أن يكون المتقدم عماني الجنسية، ألا يقل سن المتقدم عن 18 سنة، ألا يكون متزوجا من غير عمانية باستثناء ما أجازته القوانين المختصة، ألا يزيد طول المتقدم عن 185 سنتيمتر ولا يقل عن 165 سنتيمتر، وعلى أن يكون الوزن متناسبا مع الطول للضباط المرشحين الذكور فقط. ألا يزيد طول المتقدم عن 180 سنتيمتر ولا يقل عن 155 سنتيمتر، وعلى أن يكون الوزن متناسبا مع الطول للضباط المرشحين للإناث فقط. ألا يزيد طول المتقدم عن 185 سنتيمتر ولا يقل عن 163 سنتيمتر، وعلى أن يكون الوزن متناسبا مع الطول الجنود المستجدين. أن يكون لائقا طبيا وبدنيا، وأن يكون مستوى الإبصار 6/6 بالنسبة لتلاميذ المرشحين تنفيذي حملة الدبلوم العام ولجميع التخصصات الأخرى، وبدون عمليات تصحيح النظر أو العدسات الطبية اللاصقة. أن يكون حسن السيرة والسلوك وغير محكوم عليه بجناية أو جنحة مخلة بالشرف والأمانة. أن يجتاز المقابلات الشخصية وجميع الاختبارات المقررة بنجاح. ألا يعمل بوحدات الجهاز الإداري للدولة، مدنية أو عسكرية أو أمنية. يعد الطلب ملغيا إذا ثبت في أي وقت ما يخالف الشروط العامة أو شروط شغل الوظيفة مهما كانت الأسباب ونتيجة الاختبارات والمقابلات الشخصية. ألا يكون استقال أو أنهيت خدماته من إحدى المؤسسات العسكرية أو الأمنية. ولمزيد من الاستفسار يرجى الاتصال بمركز الاتصالات. مع تمنياتنا للجميع بالتوفيق.
ما شاء الله، جزاك الله خيرا يا شيخ، بارك الله
يوما ما ستكونين امرأة في مكانة عالية تستحقينها. صغيرتي، كانت ولا زالت المرأة العمانية سنداً ومرجعاً قوياً.
واو دي حلوة، نجيب من هنا. أريد أصير مثلها.
تعبت. عمرك ربيتك ربتهم ولا هي الغيرة ما تسوي؟
انت ما راح تتزوجي الا خالد.
انا لا يمكن اخليك تتحكمي في مصير اولادي مثل ما تحكمتي في مصيري.
بيت في سليمان ما دخلوا البر ملع.
اللي جالس خالد يسويه بيخرب السوق على الكل.